technology,
innovation,
CES.
and that's what we're talking about today. I'm Preston.
And I'm Adam.
And this is your weekly social. So CES happened.
It happened. It actually happened.
Yeah, it did. It's nice to see that a big event was able to go off. Not without many hitches. There were
some
quite
hitches,
a few
but it
things
wasn't bad.
that went wrong, but we were still actually able to get a good show. I know 2021's was sad. 2020's was very sad. So to see I'm actually really excited to talk about CES today because it's that good of a trade show.
Well, then it looked like people actually came to play, right? Sometimes people just show up to just show up, but it looked like people were, no, we're here to rock, we're here to win, we're here to show off in really new and powerful ways. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, so we were kind of looking forward to some of the speakers and panels that were supposed to happen that largely didn't.
Like Meta. Facebook Meta decided to drop out.
Yeah, Paris Hilton talking about NFTs. Looks like that didn't happen. I'm heartbroken.
Wait, confirmed it didn't happen, or just nobody covered it?
Nobody covered it if it did happen, but I don't know that it did. I did. And maybe that was part of the paid thing, but I didn't see a lot of coverage of any of the panels. But a bunch of some of the fun products.
Yeah, so we know that Samsung came to play with their QD OLED. That's what those are?
And a bunch of other stuff. Samsung kind of owned the show this year.
Yeah.
It was a TV and monitor show in particular. If you have a lot of money still that you want to throw at a TV or a monitor, you should be very inspired after this weekend.
Well, and I would make a distinction though too, because in a lot of ways, this isn't just, all right, now it's the biggest monitor or the biggest TV. It's highly functional technology.
Yes.
Even going into the ability to trade NFTs with your Samsung TV, that was one of the features. And display it, show it, and actually giving a way to curate those digital assets that you can't really put together like an art collection for in a manifested real world, except in this type of space. I like that type of thinking for function.
The Odyssey arc as well was at first, based on all their pressers, it looked like, they did a Y-axis monitor. But no, it's a very adaptable, function your screen. We are making this monitor for however you need to work and whatever your utilities are. It will adapt and adjust to you. A very impressive looking monitor for that. We understand there's a billion workflows. We're gonna give you as much help as you can, and really showed it on the floor. You need to rotate this to get your full X and have the best curved monitor. We got it. You need to remember that you have a neck and go up. I made a joke that if I were to get one, I'd have my workflow right about here, and then have No Man's Sky in the top half. So every time I look back, I would look at space. It'd be fun, but
it would be delightful.
That idea that you can have things stacked and almost that tropish 90s view of here's a billion monitors to do all of your surveillance work for the FBI or whatever is now
no, it's possible.
It's kind of the vibe they're going through of let's have 20 monitors in one. So very fun stuff from Samsung.
Well, and we'd be regretful to not mention AMD, Intel, NVIDIA showing up to the party too. We know we've all been waiting for the GPU shortage. That's something that does impact our industry quite a bit, just because we do video editing, there's rendering, there's animations, motion graphics. There's parts and tools that we need that we actually cannot get a hold of. And so coming in at, NVIDIA had a $250 price point for something that seemed workable. AMD came in at the $199 mark.
And it was really interesting in graphics cards and hardware, phones also, the focus shifted from quality to affordability.
Yeah.
Of more people need this. I think the work from home culture was a big light to everyone of, oh, my home setup is not good, or here's how much my work with an IT department actually does for me, and now I have to figure out how to do this in my home office. And that there's already kind of a level of shortages, and now it's like you just can't get your hands on even like the average stuff you need. So I think responding to that need was
Well,
huge.
even in that, like Anchor had that 2K or 2.5K.
I think it was 2K.
Yeah.
Video bar. I think it was the Anchor video bar, which 2K output. It has a light bar on top as wide as the camera. It's on speakers, so the focus is instead of typical setup where you see like one of the ring lights or something in the back and you have 3 different accessories for what you do. How do we make an all-in-one that works?
Yeah.
So I think they're saying it's about $220, which for 2K footage is not terrible. This is not something you get if you're just starting out and being like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. But like if you're using it for commerce, you've built stuff and you want to transition into something that is probably a substantial upgrade for not actually that substantial a cost if you've been working on it.
Well, that and it's positioning, right? Like we talk about the monitors and the function with it. We talk about Anchor or even these graphics cards. Part of it is there's this new expectation for things to be better, bigger, and sharper. You know, just being able to sit with a crummy laptop webcam, an integrated one, and it's like still like staring up at your chin, and it's just ugly. It sounds bad. It looks grainy because the lighting's bad. In many ways, that is just positioning companies or even solopreneurs really poorly.
Yeah.
You know, at bare minimum, their expectation, and this is one of the things I don't get, like your cell phone webcam / front-facing camera is way better than most webcams on your laptop, and you paid, well, at this point, probably about the same. And the experience is, at bare minimum, put your cell phone up, attach it to a tripod or lean it up against a wall, and that looks so much better.
Yeah.
You know, when we're trying to position ourselves as professionals to move things forward the best, or do sales calls, do whatever, we should be looking sharp. And I actually think that the Anchor setup is actually a nice, affordable step.
Yeah.
Because you can get like a $60 to $100 Logitech 920C, whatever. They have a few different models for that. And that does pretty good. To do anything above that is a $600 to $800 DSLR with a special adapter setup. So then coming in right at that $200 price point for something better, I think is really wise of them as a company.
Yeah. So do we want to talk about Razer?
Yeah. So they came out with some really cool stuff for that.
It's an interesting shift. Like it happens, but I noticed it a lot more this year to do all-in-ones. Of a lot of people being like, if you are getting accessories, how about you get one accessory instead of 6? Or if you're getting something, how about a complete product? So this is done with PCs, and Razer is trying to do a laptop that is just multifunctional. It shifts and adapts based on what you need. It's powerful. And basically, like, we want to be the last thing you'll ever purchase.
Yeah.
And I think that was fantastic. Their pressers, because it's a Razer and they have their neon and RGB effects all over the place, very rainbow-esque. The big presser image that's all over the place is you just see this green folded stable laptop with these bright neon button colors. It's beautiful, but also they are trying to really win that frustration a lot of people have of, what if you just bought one more thing?
Yeah.
And you didn't have to buy anything else for really until the next Tech cycle is over, which I appreciate because upgrading every year is tedious,
Yeah,
especially when we have a situation like the past 3 years. Very tedious and very difficult.
I wanted to see a few other things from CES this year. I was hoping to see a little bit more of AR.
Yeah.
coming through. I was hoping to see, I was really hoping to see Meta come and enter the space. No other social media group really did anything. No. You know, this is, I know computer entertainment / consumer entertainment, electronics, everything is there. Why were they not there? And to give an example, Walmart actually has a fairly large stake in TikTok. And part of the reasons they did that was when Oracle was buying them, Walmart came in as another American agent to buy ownership stake. Part of that ownership stake, as what was reported, was that they were supposed to help bring e-commerce and some purchasing and some other functionality. To me, it would have made sense to have Walmart or TikTok or some of those other social media agencies really be there.
Yeah. And if we talk about Meta specifically, while we didn't see AR, we saw a lot of VR. Like, everybody's VR accessories came to play. So you saw upgrade. LG had some products they wanted to put out. Sony, of course, came. They've been pushing. I can't remember if Oculus specifically came, but a lot of people with their own like versions of Oculus setups and a lot of the sub-accessory companies to build around these were all there. The accessory ecosystem showed up in full force in VR to CES, but I still don't know if I'm going to be able to use any of this in Meta.
Yeah, and it's a weak showing for them, right? It's a fairly new company trying to restructure, trying to legally protect themselves is the big reason. But the fact that Meta was unable to show up, unable to bring new products to the marketplace, even the Facebook portal, like that stuff's kind of cool. I don't know if you've ever played with one. They're kind of cool.
Like a little bit. It exists.
It exists. It's a cool webcam thing. There's multiple tiered products. But what that says to me, and this is just pure speculation, is that no one was equipped or enabled or empowered to actually make CES a priority.
Yeah.
And that to me makes it a little bit hard to say, oh yeah, we should be really investing in the Facebook, Instagram world if those types of things are not at baseline minimum being taken care of.
Even a statement, because Q4, from a stock market perspective, from a buying perspective, even from a news cycle perspective, was all metaverse. Everybody's metaverses. I'm surprised Microsoft didn't give any huge updates on their stuff they just launched. There were like 3 or 4 companies that were like, we want our own metaverse system. The best I got was Samsung is gonna sell NFTs on their TVs.
Which is nice functionality to be brought to a consumer level.
Absolutely, but isn't from any of the core ecosystems. Like, what we have all this stuff, I still don't know what I'm going to use it for.
Aside from that, what were things that you were hoping to see that didn't appear, aside from more AR?
Yeah, again, I'm big on AR. I would have liked to see that. Consumer robotics is something I enjoy, and there were good showings of that this year.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised to not see a whole lot from Boston Dynamics. I think one of their subsidiaries showed up and did stuff, but I was really looking forward to like version 9 of the dog. It's my favorite. But this idea of Americans are always hesitant about robotics. We did get one robot this year from America Robotics, a mecha that literally looks like the iRobot robot. It almost feels like a meme. He said it was robots in this form, androids in this shape, are for entertainment purposes. And I'd kind of shake my head because it was impressive, it was scary. I don't know if it was in good taste or bad taste. The colors were the same. And then on the other side of that, you had the Labrador. I believe this might have been the subsidiary of Boston Dynamics. I'm unsure. It's a home robot, and it is the most simple looking thing. It is a rectangle on wheels that goes around. It has trays back and forth. It will help you out. It'll follow you reminders. It's not trying to be a person. It is a box with trays, and is also kind of like a island kitchen is basically what it is that can follow you. It looks like it will work, It will be good. It's not trying to be too much, and a lot of people were excited about that because finally it was something that was simple and functional. Is it gonna work? We always say we want robotics, especially elderly are the target audience.
Yeah.
And this
for
is something
assistance.
that's like, maybe grandma would use this actually because it's helpful instead of trying to be your best friend. Oh, there's a tray that showed up and I don't have to walk 3 feet. I was creeped out by the amount of Alexa compatible things that showed up.
Yeah, there was a lot, like that microwave.
The microwave was there. There was, I think this had Alexa capability. There was, I'm trying to remember. There was another gadget that, similar to the microwave, it felt like it had no business having I think it was a smartwatch or something. I like virtual assistants, but I don't like them that much.
Yeah.
Because we've seen over and over again, Alexa listens more than it's supposed to.
Yeah, it does.
And is basically a tiny little surveillance bot. Thank you. But that's my opinion.
Well, and even beyond that, one nice thing that it was good to see was you had manufacturers like GE and others saying we need to kind of standardize a lot of these smart home devices.
Yes.
So that they can all kind of play together instead of saying, oh, okay, well, I bought a Samsung fridge and I have a GE dishwasher, but I have to use separate apps and separate interfaces to do every single little thing.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting conversation that did occur at CES.
And I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
Because that is frustrating.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think people are about done with 20 different apps for 20 different devices. And especially usually when a project dies or moves on, so does app support.
Yep.
Like, for example, for my smart electronics, it's the Ember travel mug. I love it. I think it's great. My favorite part of it is it does have an app. I don't need to use it.
Sure.
Everything, if I press here, I can get everything I need from the menu here. I just get additional functionality from actually using the app, and there's tiny things, but if they canceled support for the project today and I could never use it again, I can still use my device.
Yeah.
And I
That is
wish
nice.
there was a little more of that. So I'm really curious on that end what next year will look like. For as much as it was a mild showing, like literally, the CES by all means was not a mild presentation.
No.
I would say I am excited for some of this stuff. I am excited for a lot of this to hit the market. I'm excited to see if the BMW Smart Ink ever hits the market at all.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see all of the controversy and excitement of the John Deere smart tractors.
I love that. That's one I'm really excited about. And if you didn't see the announcement, John Deere came out with fully autonomous tractors, which to me is kind of like the gold star for farming. Like if we can automate our farms, I just think of like Superman on his home planet, like, some of the animated series, like they show that like fully automated, fully autonomous farming. Now, granted, that was all run by Brainiac, so that's their version of Skynet. So I have some concern with it.
It'll come back.
I don't know that they've accounted for our region. We live in a place with lots of hills. Kansas or other places where it's flat, awesome. Here, that combine's a little tougher.
And usually we have one or two people that buy a large piece of equipment and everybody rents it from each other.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
John Deere's not the first people to approach this project.
No.
But I'm glad because they are by far the most mainstream company to do it.
They are, but they haven't been without faults.
No.
There's been times where a farmer has gone out to see their tractor, and like I've talked to a farmer who had this happen, and Les Schwab was there, checking out the tires on the tractor because the tractor had sent out an SOS saying that it had a flat tire and that it needed support.
And there was no flat.
There was no flat. And it's kind of a hard thing I think John Deere's doing great movements. I think they're doing great things. Like you said, they're not the first ones to approach this. It is difficult for companies to pivot that hard as instead of a farming manufacturing equipment company to a certain extent a software engineering company.
Yeah. And I would say, kind of to close, in your opinion, based on this, based on kind of the year, where do companies in this space need to pivot in 2022, 2023?
I think the trend towards functionality is the biggest. When there's kind of this weird dichotomy between being the most innovative, we gotta have the most pixels in a screen, we gotta have the biggest screen, because that's what CES has been kind of the last 4 years. There's been kind of almost this innovation wall that we haven't really been able to hit very well or get past. And the way that people are finally figuring out is it has to be functional. There has to be a reason for me to buy a 65-inch TV versus keeping my 40 or my 55. Oh, was QD LED, OLED? Like, oh, okay, yeah. My 2.5K monitor at home is great. Okay, well, actually the ARC looks pretty good. How can I use this functionally better? How can it improve my customer user experience, and even then build affinity towards the brand?
And even one of the things that smart TVs I think did very well, and I like that trend, is just even low-level questions like, can I stream my YouTube videos on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I have my Spotify playlist listen? If I pull out my phone and I want to watch something, can I do it?
Okay, so I know we're supposed to close soon. Did you see the headphones that you don't have to touch, that work off of your neuropath signals?
No.
So it's very, very basic, but...
I saw the Bluetooth turntable, and that was...
No. So earbuds, but with your brain, just say pause. And pause your music or next track. That, to me, that's a little bit too much. But that type of functionality.
Right.
At a base level, how can we make it that much more functional? Earbuds, some will fit in your ear, some of them won't. How can we make this better? Well, yeah, I have a 4-year-old. My hands are gross sometimes. And I don't really want to get whatever goo is on my hand on my headphones. But there's a lot of ways that type of stuff really should be the movement forward. That's all we have for today. We're so excited to be doing a live show. I haven't seen any questions or stuff come through the chat. Peter, have you seen anything come through the chat? Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. We love doing this. We're excited for 2022 as a new year. We are exceedingly optimistic and exceedingly excited.
This has been our CES 2022 coverage. Thank you. Have a nice day, and we'll see you next time on your weekly social.
Extravaganza, that's an
Extravaganza. CES extravaganza. It was extravagant.
It was.
And I think we're just gonna make small talk until the stream ends.
Extravagant. Extravagantly talk to each other.
It will be.
Until Peter gives us the cue that we're supposed to be done.
Okay.
We're just here.
It's done.
It's great.